We are back for Ask Us Anything from the Do This Not That podcast presented by Marigold. This is our short episode where we answer work questions and ridiculous questions that we get in. If you want to submit a question, we would love that. You go to jayschwedelson.com. There's a button that says podcast, another one that says Ask Us Anything, and submit whatever you got. Let's do the work question first. We got a question this weekend from Micah from Boston. Boston's got to be getting cold. I live in Florida. I cannot wait to make fun of everybody that's cold because it's still in the 80s here. So, too bad for all you people that are cold. Anyway, what is your question, Micah? Jay, we are frustrated with one of our marketing technology platforms that we are using. Any secrets on picking a new platform or getting more out of the engagement we currently have? I feel like this is a common thing for everybody. Whatever Martech platform you're using, whether it's for your CRM or analytics or who knows what, there's a million different things you need a platform for. You're always some version of either it's not bad or really frustrated, and you think there's another one that's just going to be way better. And by the way, the grass is not always greener. That's not always the case. But there are some things that you can do to either find a new vendor or get more out of the vendor you currently have. So, one thing I don't think people are doing enough of is using ChatGPT in this way that you can now use it, which has really only changed in the last month or two. So, you can go to ChatGPT, for example, and let's say you're thinking about three different platforms. Let's say you're considering a new email sending platform as an example, right? And you're like, "Oh, well, we're thinking about, one of these three different platforms." You can go to ChatGPT now with the free version and you can do this. You can put in three URLs. So let's say you're between Klaviyo, you'd put in klaviyo.com, MailChimp.com, and let's say Braze.com. Let's say those are the three different platforms that you're thinking about potentially using, right? You can go to ChatGPT, you put those URLs in there, and then you write a prompt like this. I'm trying to find a new email sending platform. Can you review these different company websites and provide back a table with each one's strengths, weaknesses, questions you would ask them, and what industries or markets they focus on? And instantly, ChatGPT is going to analyze those websites and give you back a table, like a spreadsheet that is giving you all that information, the strengths, the weaknesses, questions to ask, what industries they focus in on. And you could do this. Let's say you're usually trying to find a new billing software system, and you're like putting QuickBooks versus FreshBooks versus whatever category you're looking for a vendor. This is a great way to get some instant review of who you are considering, and then coming out of that, you could do a follow up question, and you say, "Okay, now I want you to take this information and turn it into an RFP, or request for proposal. And we're really trying to keep our budget in between this and this. We really specialize in these industries, these categories. We focus on, these employee sizes. Can you build an RFP that we can send to these different companies that then we can leverage?" And then the other thing I would tell you about, that's if you're trying to go out and get maybe a new vendor. Okay. But what can you do with your current vendor to really get the most out of it? Number one, you should go back to your current vendor and say, "Listen, our relationship is almost up for renewal. I want to set up a call and I want you to repitch me and the entire team on your platform, because there's a lot of new bells and whistles that you have. There's new members of our team, and I want you to pitch us again." And you will be shocked about what you learn about the platform that you didn't know. You didn't know it could do this. You didn't know it had this advancement, this thing, whatever it is. But going through that process is super valuable. It is not a waste of time. All right. And then the other big thing I do with all of our platforms is every year our teams go back to all the different platforms that we are subscribed to, that we are using, and we say to them the following thing. We say, "Listen, please review how we are using your platform," because they have all the analytics on how you're using it. "Please review how we're using your platform. We want to set up a meeting. We want you to tell us, for the amount of money that we're currently spending, what things are we not taking advantage of that we have access to currently? And number two, is there a better way to price out our relationship knowing how we use the platform?" Because what you do when you sign that first initial thing with the platform, it always winds up being different on how you actually use it once you start to get it onboarded. So doing those two things, A, you probably save a boatload of money because you're going to find out you're not using a lot of the stuff. You can cut down your costs. Or B, they have the functionality that you're actually looking for from some other platform and you didn't even realize it. So I would think about doing all of that stuff. All right. Before we get into the absolutely ridiculous portion of this podcast, I wanted to let you know that this podcast is exclusively presented by Marigold. Speaking about email sending platform, the reason I don't need to do an RFP for an email sending platform is because I use the best email sending platform on earth. Marigold, which is a roll-up of Sailthrough and Emma and Campaign Monitor and Live Clicker. If you are not thrilled with your email sending platform, you need to check out Marigold. Get a demo from them. And here's the good news. I got a huge, great discount offer only for the listeners of this podcast. If you go to jayschwedelson.com/save, SAVE, there's an up to 50% discount right there for the listener of this podcast. You should take a demo because you'll find out that your platform probably stinks. Marigold is awesome. You should check them out at jayschwedelson.com/save. All right, let's get into the ridiculous question. We got a question in from Lucy from Austin, which just in Austin. They have great tacos in Austin, but I don't understand why only Austin has great tacos. Like, I was eating the tacos there. I'm like, I can make this at home. I don't get it. But anyway, they do have great tacos. Lucy, what is your question? Okay, Jay, Thanksgiving is almost here. What do you think about these Thanksgiving dishes? Would you eat them? And what are your thoughts about Thanksgiving in general? Okay. So first, let's look at the dishes that Lucia sent over. First one is macaroni and cheese all day. You need to have macaroni and cheese at your Thanksgiving. If you don't, you're a big fat loser. You might not be fat, but you're a loser. Sorry. Mashed potatoes. Again, 100%. I don't even understand this question. Like, you would not have mashed potatoes at your Thanksgiving? What's wrong with you? Cranberry sauce. Now, cranberry sauce is actually disgusting. It straight up is. I don't think it should be at Thanksgiving. It's super weird. I don't know why. It's like the only time of year you even have cranberry sauce. And the reason that is because it's gross and nobody actually likes it. It's the only thing that nobody wants to take home. It's disgusting. So don't eat it. All right. Stuffing, stuffing slash dressing, whatever that means. All right. Stuffing. All right. I am a very big fan of stuffing, but it has to not be dry. If you have dry stuffing, it's horrendous. So somehow you need to make sure it's good. Green bean casserole, I like it. Nobody else does. I'm a big fan. Coleslaw, that's not a thing. That's not a Thanksgiving thing. Nobody eats coleslaw. I don't think. I mean, that's disgusting. Why would you eat coleslaw at Thanksgiving? That's really weird. Jello salad. Oh my God. Somebody brought Jello salad. Like, it's like Jello with like weird stuff in it. The last Thanksgiving we had, and I looked at that person, I was completely judging them. I'm like, that's gross. I will not be trying that. And then, of course, I did try it. And of course, I lied and said, oh my God, it's so good. But Jello salad's absolutely terrible. It's like 1984 hit your Thanksgiving. And in general, what do I think about Thanksgiving? Well, obviously, Thanksgiving is amazing, right? It's absolutely amazing. One thing that is probably something I shouldn't say out loud, but I'm about to anyway, is, at Thanksgiving, you have people bring over like food that they made to put on the table. Like, somebody will make the green bean casserole or somebody will make the mashed potatoes. And that's part of what everybody eats because it's really hard for one family to cook everything for everybody. My problem, which hopefully nobody that's coming to my Thanksgiving is listening to, is when we have people bring over the food that they made, I get grossed out because I'll be like, oh my God, that person's kind of gross. And now they're making food and I have to eat it. And so I know this is terrible. I should be thankful. It's Thanksgiving. I'm so thankful to bring over food. That's so nice. They took the time. None of that. I'm completely grossed out for the majority of food that people bring over to my house, unless it's something like they bought it. Oh, we got the best cake and we bought it from this bakery. Win all day. Do that. If you make it at your house, you're gross. I don't want to eat it. Um, the other weird part is when it comes to leftovers, people, like, I don't know about your house, but in my house, people pack up leftovers and they take more than their fair share. And it's wild to me. They're like packing up as if like, this is it. This is the food that they're going to eat because it's Thanksgiving at my house. So they pack it up and then they don't leave me enough of the stuff that I want. And my wife's always giving me the look like, dude, you got to let them take the stuff. We're the hosts. You got to let them take the food. And I'm always like, that sucks. Like, we're having Thanksgiving at my house. I want the leftovers so I could be a disgusting animal for the next 3 days. This is ridiculous. So I get screwed on the leftovers, but hopefully this year that won't happen. We've talked about a lot. I don't know what we talked about, but I appreciate you all. Listen, go to jayschwedelson.com. I want to work with you. That's where you could find me. That's where you can figure out what we could do together. And you can leave me a note saying this is the worst podcast. We can do all sorts of stuff. And because it's Thanksgiving, please leave this thing a review. Tell me this is a horrible podcast, or maybe you like it. That would be great too. And yeah, thanks for being here. And don't eat cranberry sauce. Later.